Todd might join later. Everyone, welcome to a Sunday Social, a special Q&A show. So keep your questions coming. I'm joined by the panel. So why don't we kick off with a quick wristwatch check? Dave, you're in the hot seat. What are you wearing?
Well, I'm not actually technically wearing it, but just to keep you happy, here we have the beauty that is the 39%er, because well, as you know, I'm in Switzerland most of the time, so why not? Yeah, I don't know if you know the little story behind this, though, that they couldn't miss an opportunity to actually make more money, because these are normally 100 Swiss francs, these watches, and this one, just because you can, is 139 Swiss francs. So not only are they jibing a joke at, well, you know what, the general situation, they're also making an extra 40% on it themselves, which is pretty clever, to be honest.
Yeah, it's that's the good thing with swatches. They could sometimes be a time capsule, can't they? And that one certainly is going to be a time capsule for many years to come.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And the box is actually pretty good as well.
Oh, yeah. I think Mark showed it last week.
Yeah. What if? I think it just says what if, and it just says tariffs. It's quite good. Quite like it. But there we go. That's what I'm wearing. Nothing super exciting.
Oh, no. That is pretty cool, though. Dennis, what are you wearing?
Today is a Glasuta Real. This is the 60s. This is actually an older model, a rose gold model, back when it was in the Senator line instead of the vintage line. But aesthetically, there's like no difference other than it's a Senator on the back.
Cool piece up.
I'm wearing a dive watch that I got sent in for review, which I'm going to be doing the review this week. And it is a common color for a dive watch, salmon pink. So it's a Phoebus with a salmon pink dial, which, do you know what? It's actually growing on me a little bit, and I don't know why. Like bold hands in it. It's got like a 12.
It's got a wee bit of vibe. I definitely got a Zenith vibe to it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Reminds me of it.
Which is not a bad thing, by the way, because I'm going to assume that it's nowhere near the price of a Zenith.
No. This is like, it's like less than 500, and they got like a
exactly.
So the price of a used Zenith.
The used Zenith truly get that much money? I thought the depreciation was even harder than that. That's not fair. That's a bit harsh. Sorry, that's a bit harsh.
Sorry.
Yeah, and
although it's accurate.
I'll stay pleasant.
And while we're waiting for some keep your questions coming in. We've already got a great question from Eric. But while we're waiting for the questions to come in, Dave, we've got to plug your latest collab, Ricky, and your collab with Spinnaker.
Oh, the podcast one, yeah. So this is I think it's technically the follow-up of the follow-up, if I'm not wrong. So obviously we've done a couple of different collabs over the years with Spinnaker, and this is the Nessie one. So yeah, it's pretty cool. The dial is a mother of pearl, but it's a kind of stained mother of pearl to give that blue effect on there as well. Pictures never do MOP any justice, to be honest. No matter what brand, MOP always looks better in real life. But you've got these kind of like a monoblock loom. It's a mix of kind of appliques and then the numbers, but it's loom on the bottom, then the applique on the top. So you've got that kind of like shadow effect or kind of silhouetting effect from it. The little sub-seconds isn't really a sub-seconds, it's just Nessie that kind of bobs under the water, then reappears. So you kind of see Nessie appearing every 30 seconds roughly. The bezel kind of nods back to the older one where you've got that kind of saltire mimicking on it, through the 10 and the 40 and the 50 and the 20. And then the case back's got obviously the rotor, which is fully loomed up as well. I think there's a picture in there somewhere. Yeah, it's kind of Nessie on it. You see the kind of that peppermint colour, that's loom. So you've got kind of the spinning water, but Nessie kind of spins round on it as well. But the Spinnaker blue bit's actually on the sapphire, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like a stain on the sapphire. So the rotors get Nessie on it. So as it spins round, Nessie disappears under the water. Yeah. I think it's a Miyota movement. I can't even remember the price, to be honest, but it's not particularly expensive.
No,
and it was just, I think, 600-ish, something like that. Or less than that, 425 USA go. So, I mean, to be honest, it's a cool little watch for the money. The only thing I would say is most folk will probably end up changing up the strap because, well, to be fair, there's not many watches at sub $500-600 that have got a really good, comfortable strap on it. I'm sure some folk will find it wearable, but straps tend to be it's a leather strap. It's nice, but it's quite a thick, chunky leather strap. But mine's on a rubber strap because I prefer a rubber strap. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you just made me realize that I didn't do the back loom shot in my review that went live yesterday. I didn't realize the back was loomed. Okay, well, you're hearing it now. So yeah, if you want to get a review, including the full Nessie working their way around the dial, and also there's a ton of Easter eggs, isn't there? The coordinates.
There's a load of little Easter eggs yet. Yeah,
it's really, really cool. So yeah, head on over to if you want it, you can buy it on Spinnaker's website. It's a pre-order. Also, Wind Up Watch Shop is selling it.
Pushing it as well, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a full review on Casual Watch Reviews.
Well, thanks for the plug.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Okay, so let's see what questions are coming through. Hey, Russell. Yeah, also Russell, if you want to join, I know you're busy on a Sunday, but if you want to join, just drop me a note. We'd love to have you on. Okay, so first question coming through is Eric says, been looking at a quartz chronograph for a quick grab and go piece. Any suggestions? That's not a Seiko. Stumbled on Longines VHP line that's been discontinued.
It's a tough one because it depends ultimately on your price point, I guess, because there's it's a pretty wide berth. But if we're going to go, I would take quick grab and go piece. I'm going to go with probably not super expensive, something that you enjoy wearing, but you don't need to care too much about, to be honest. If you're at the kind of low end price, I would say, obviously he said not Seiko. I get that, but Seiko do lots of cool watches in that category. Yeah. I'd also say, to be honest, Citizen have got a lot of cool watches in all sorts of different sizes. The Japanese, you can't knock them when it comes to quartz. They do it pretty much as best as anyone will ever do it. Longines, yeah, but it's definitely not at the lower end price there. Kind of high frequency stuff is generally, it was pushing into the 1,500 to $2,000 category, if I remember rightly, from last I looked at them, which was a little while back. What else? The thing is, most stuff will probably be running on a Seiko if it's in the quartz category, even if it's not a Seiko watch. A lot of it will be running on Mecha Quartz or something from Seiko, very likely anyway.
Yeah, a lot of micro brands use that, don't they? I mean, Timex as well. I mean, Timex have been knocking out those, if you're looking for something sort of on the cheaper end, Timex have been knocking out those sort of vintage inspired chronographs, haven't they? Those sort of 70s inspired ones. And there's a really cool you're spot on with Citizen. There's a really cool Citizen that I reviewed that's like sort of like two-tone gold with their green dial. That's, I think it's around 700. That was really cool.
They've got some cool pieces. The other thing, to be honest, which is definitely quartz, but it's a bit left of center, would be look at anything from G-Shock, because they will have chronos from the bottom to the top. Even ones with I guess they're not, pushers in the traditional sense, but they've got some fairly traditionally laid out chronograph stuff as well, and you'll get anything from 50 quid to 10 grand depending on where you want to go in their range. And one good thing about them is they'll definitely last probably a lot longer than we will.
Yeah, I found that Citizen. I really liked this one when I reviewed it. It's come down to 540, but that's a solid watch. Really, really, really well made. It feels really substantial. Recommend.
Yeah, the Skyhawk. I think it's the Skyhawk range as well. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think they've got a few. Is it in ProMaster? They've got the Eco Drive ProMaster range as well. I think they've even got some bullheads in there, which are generally pretty cool and funky. It's just a little bit different, and you don't see them that often, to be honest.
Yeah, I reviewed one of these sort of smaller Navi Hawks, because this is like a reduced size one, but it's still plenty big enough.
Yeah, the full size one is a monster, to be honest. It's like 42 or 43. It's a big beast, but to be honest, the little one's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As Joker said, the Christopher Ward also has a quartz chronograph. Yeah. Yes, thank you. And we've got our Christopher Ward mentioning for the show. Early doors.
Oh, I like the Joker, because the Joker's on. I just need to find this. See, I got someone today got me a very ugly Joker. Not entirely convinced why they got me this, but anyway, they got me an ugly Joker because I quite like the Joker.
Oh, very good. And
also try to tell me something.
Yeah, big thanks to Eric, who very kindly bought me a coffee on the Buy Me a Coffee website. So big thanks to Eric for that. I'll put the link if anybody else wants to buy me a coffee. You certainly can do. Okay, let's go through. Actually, Dennis, did you have any recommendations for your
It was going to be
quartz?
Citizen as well. I actually like the Zenshin a lot. But for a grab and go quartz chronograph, I would get Eco Drive. I wouldn't get something that doesn't recharge.
I thought of something else that's a little bit more expensive, but definitely would fall into the grab and go. Zin.
Okay.
Pretty sure Zin. I've got a couple. I think they've got. Oh no, what is it called? Is it the oil? I'm pretty convinced they do a quartz chrono as well. They do a couple of quartz, not a huge number, but they do a couple. Need to remember whether they still actually make it or not, but I'm pretty convinced they did something in quartz. They definitely do non-chrono, but I think they did a chrono at one point as well.
Yeah, I don't remember. You're spot on. The I don't know if they do a quartz chronograph. Maybe they did do at one time, but yeah, they're pretty heavy duty, aren't they? Those.
Yeah, you'll not break it easily. You'll definitely break your wrist before you break the watch.
Yeah, it's kind of like this style, isn't it? But
yeah, and there's that brand as well. Is it the French brand? Depancel, something like that. Do quite a lot of chronos in, I think it's DECENPAL, something like that. French brand they sit underneath Amida. The guys that did Amida, the kind of driver style watch, they've got the guys that run that have got a brand under them, and they do definitely quite a lot of kind of chronos and quartz stuff as well.
Yeah, these motorsport inspired ones.
Yeah, it's got that kind of motorsport vibe to it, but I'm definitely sure. Yeah, there you go. There's a couple of, I think they're single mono pusher chronographs as well.
Oh yeah, quite like that.
Yeah, not monster money either. If you like that aesthetic anyway, it's a kind of, I guess it's probably a little bit leaning into the Tag Heuer type thing. But I think they probably are Seiko movements, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, because so this is pretty good. The chronograph is actually the date on these ones. Yeah.
I've seen a few of these in real life, and to be honest, they're not ultra primos, but they're as well made as anything you'll find at that price point.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, great question, Eric. Awesome. Okay, so next one up, actually Joker says, if you could sell all your watches at a good price, would you sell them all and get your dream watch?
Don't ask me that question.
Yeah. And I've often pondered this, and I think if I could get fair market value for everything, then maybe. But then I have got watches that I inherited, and I just can't. That would kind of do it. But
and then the big question always is, once you've got your dream watch, then have you actually got your dream watch? Because you need to be pretty kind of ballsy to have a dream watch that's so far out of kilter. And of course, then what happens the year after when someone else drops something else, even if the handmade one by Grubel Forze was their dream watch and you get it, guarantee within not too long a window they'll have something else that will become your new dream watch.
Yeah, it's you sort of touched on that last week with Grail watches.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, would I? Probably not, to be honest with you, because I think it's kind of like, it's like final destination, isn't it? Do you ever actually really want to get there? Because once you get there, kind of the game's over, isn't it?
Yeah.
No,
very cool.
I don't. It's an easy no for me. There are certain pieces already that I don't really intend. I mean, my mind may change over time, but I own certain watches. Like I didn't settle for them. I got them because I wanted them. So I don't see the point in getting rid of them. And I don't have a dream watch that I love that much. So that's easier. I don't go chasing. I don't have like a list of grails. Actually, doing the whole grail thing is very difficult for me. Because I just don't look at those watches. Like if they're 100K plus watches, I don't look at them.
Yeah, I'm the same actually. I think I would personally be nervous about wearing a watch that was like a significant value, probably, I don't know, over 20 grand or something. I would feel, unless it was like, I suppose there's a lot of stealth wealth ones, isn't there, that nobody would have a clue.
To be honest, pretty much everything that's not from one of the 2 or 3 major brands, the vast majority of people would have absolutely no idea what it is.
Yeah.
It's not like a car where you're looking at it thinking, I've no idea what that name is, but it looks expensive, Most folk wouldn't know what a Koenigsegg was if it hit them in the face, but you could be pretty sure if they saw it and heard it, they would assume that it was mightily expensive. I think with watches, you can kind of hide in the undergrowth, even with a pretty punchy price watch, because folk sometimes assume it looks like a bit of a kid's toy, let's be honest, a lot of the kind of high horology.
Oh yeah, I actually agree. Yeah, and I suppose I don't know. Certainly where I live in Florida, when I see a really nice car, I always think, oh God, the payment on that must be very high. Whereas a nice watch, you have to you own it outright,
Well,
don't you? Most of the time.
I'll tell you an anecdotal story about that, which was quite interesting. It was someone who will remain nameless, but he's someone who worked for a very long time at Apple, and he was very senior in Apple, and pretty much anything we know from Apple, he had his fingers in it over the years. And he said, we were talking to him last week, and he said he had this dream. His dream was a very specific last of the air-cooled 911 Porsches. He lives in San Francisco, and he was like, one day I will have that car. I will have this car one day. And he said he had to find the right one. And he said eventually he got it a couple of years ago. And he said, got it all. Pleased as punch, finally, I've made it. And he says, the first time I drove it, pardon my French, he said, literally, I just watched folk looking at me. And he said, I looked at myself in the rearview mirror and said, it appears I am now the asshole. and he literally just said, I couldn't drive it after that. He said, just be very careful what you wish for.
Yeah, that would that is pretty funny. Yeah, it must be. I know when I lived in California, there was like a cars and coffee thing, and the cars that would be there were amazing. But what was funny is that people there would gravitate towards like the vintage cars instead of like the high end stuff. And there was a beautiful Renault Alpina or whatever that had the Tag Heuer, because that looked sort of Porsche, didn't it? But it had the Tag
well, they all had that very aero 1960s, 70s look, didn't they?
Yeah, and it was
but the Alpine,
cool.
that'll have been the Alpine 110.
Yeah, it was like blue, like a metallic blue, like the Monte Carlo Rally. Yeah, and in this one had the Heuer, the two Heuer rally timers in it.
That's right, because they won. If I remember rightly, they won the Monte Carlo Rally. I think that was the car that won the Monte Carlo. I'm sure it was a Monte Carlo at one point, but that was the 110, which is what's reinvigorated the brand.
Yeah, in fact, there is a new one, isn't there, that's shaped very similar to it, and they've got
they brought the brand back as the premium end of Renault, and obviously the Formula One team's Alpine, but they brought the 110 back, and the Americans are up in arms because they're not allowed to have it because it's too low and its bumpers aren't bumpy enough.
Yeah, I like the Alpine, the Renault 5 that they've done. They've kind of brought that back. Oh, so good. Oh, that Renault 5, the turbo. Oh, beautiful car. So that's my youth. Those hot hatches.
There we go. There's Sam's true British roots coming out to show. He's 1980s hot hatch boy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I still drive a Mini now, and the Mini very famous for Monte Carlo Rally, wasn't it? They were just literally drifting that before drifting was a thing around the corners.
Yeah, it wasn't. They weren't drifting it. The car was just deciding to drift, I think is more accurate.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Okay, so next question coming up. What type of watches are good for getting more people into the hobby, in the panel's opinion? I saw the Hamilton X Modern Warfare watch and had this thought, much like the Moonswatch. Yeah, I mean, Hamilton do a ton of movie collabs, don't they? And I think a lot of people do gravitate towards the brand because of that. They've done like video game ones. I know Modern Warfare, but they've done Far Cry. I know there was a Far Cry one. I quite like the Far Cry game.
In fact, they were the first brand that I've ever had a watch that featured in the video game before it was actually a real product, and then brought a real product out that mimicked the watch that was in the video game. And I think it was Far Cry, if I remember rightly, because they for many years have been in the movie game in terms of either being used, like for example in Oppenheimer, they weren't officially aligned with Oppenheimer, but the cast that were doing it, the what's the word I'm looking for, the wardrobe, they went out and found the original watches that were time period correct, which were Hamilton's, and used them. But they've also supplied watches for a multitude of films. But they've got into the video game market because apparently the video game market value is exponentially higher than even Hollywood is.
Yeah, and G-Shock are doing them as well. I would have, they're really expensive now, but there was I believe it was a Seiko watch. Somebody might correct me, that was used in Metal Gear Solid, and they made like a special edition of it.
I mean, they've done it for years. I've got watches that are 25 years old from Hamilton that are movie watches. I think there was one called Base Jump that was in some movie with Sylvester Stallone, I think. I mean, he's hardly a current actor, really, is he?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's doing pretty well in TV now, is it, over here in that Tulsa King or whatever he's doing. But yeah, I mean,
Right, he's in that.
the big shame with Hamilton was that the Tenant watch. I wish they'd made if they'd made the Tenant watch like film accurate with the countdown timer. I would have bought it, honestly, because it's so I really like that film and it's so integral to the film, but they just kind of like
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But what else would we get folk into the panel? I don't know. I think it depends. I think accessibility is the key thing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Moonswatch did a good job, but the problem is they were making hard to get. It was like line up kids, and maybe if you're very good, you might get one.
Yeah, I don't know if collaborations are necessarily the starting place for a lot of people. If they're into watches as a collector, I think they need to be interested in watches. So I tend to think of more affordable mechanical watches. I don't ever recommend people start with micro brands. I think it's a space that's confusing. So to me, Hamilton's a good choice, but it wouldn't be the Call of Duty watch. I'd say just pick like another 38 millimeter field mechanical. Is a good place to start if you want to start Swiss. Obviously, while Seiko's prestige has fallen in a lot of people's eyes, the 5 Sports series is still quite affordable and is a good way.
Sure.
You could see the movement. If that makes you uncomfortable, you could jump over to Seiko's subsidiary Orient and get something there instead. But I actually think Citizen also, now that they have the Siyosa, it's got some date just vibes without looking like a date just. It's got kind of like the integrated bracelet, but you got the the Cyclops and all the rest of it. It comes in a lot of really bright colors or more staid looks. That's I think a really good option as well. So I think Seiko, Orient, Citizen, and Hamilton. And I'll round it out with Tissot. Tissot would be another Swiss option.
Yes.
I know someone later on asked about hype pieces, but the PRX is readily obtainable if you want an integrated bracelet watch. I actually have seen someone like where I work who had a PRX, and I recognized it. I didn't confront him on it. So few people are in anything other than an Apple Watch now. I was really surprised to see a PRX in the wild, and he was wearing it in a suit.
It's interesting though. I think I'm pretty conscious that we are all 3 white dudes of a certain age, so we've probably got our opinions about what is kind of like the gateway. But my younger brother's oldest daughter, so 2 generations below probably either of us, she actually recently just decided out the blue she wanted to get a mechanical watch. And actually, weirdly, her take on, she was like, I am not buying something on the high street. Don't want something that is something that lots of people can buy. She ended up buying randomly a Pollen. And she was more driven by, it followed modern color and style palettes of what would be regarded as in fashion for her demographic, her age group, and what she would buy with clothes and shoes and all that kind of stuff. And she saw it as a fashion accessory, but at the same time, she wanted something that had some longevity. And it was quite an interesting take. She looked at it from a very, very different angle. And I said to her, well, you understand, that's quite a cool choice. If you know about watches, then that's a cool choice. And she was like, I don't really care whether it's cool or not. I just think it's nice. I like it. And it's funny, it's very different mentality to maybe what we would have or where we started.
Yeah, my cousin's son, so I don't know if that'd be my second cousin, Andrew. He's I think he's 15, 16 years old. He's just really got into watches now. The same thing, like mechanical watches, and he was asking my my uncle, like, oh, what watches have you got? I need to actually send him one over, but he's got really into like quartz and mechanical watches, because I think if you grew up in the era of like where everything is a smartwatch and everything is connected, then I know Robert actually made this thing saying, I think smartwatches are probably responsible for getting people into watches. I 100%. Believe that. Yeah.
Smartwatches, Garmin's, Fitbits, all that nonsense. It basically got folk putting stuff in their wrist again. Simple as that.
Yeah, I do think that's a big player.
Yeah. And then
and it's still by far and away the biggest watch market in the world by a massively considerable margin.
Yeah, Joker's saying Omega is in the next James Bond game. That James Bond game looks awesome. I've got it on pre-order. It's going to be incredible, because they actually did. They recreated the Omega watch. Like they didn't make like a fake brand like you get in a lot of the video games. They actually and the watch actually does something in the game. Like on the prequels, on the demonstrations they've shown, there's like a entry bit where he jumps onto a onto a plane, and then the watch takes over the plane controls. So as he's moving the bezel, the planes, and then you've got to basically move the crates to get the bad guys, move the plane back and forward using the watch. And they got Omega to agree for them to basically replicate the watches in like a digital form, because they wanted to do everything like 100% correct. So it's like James Bond in his younger years when he's like 27 or something.
Guarantee I guarantee that didn't take much persuasion to persuade them to do it.
I'd almost wonder if Omega said, "We'll pay you if you let us use the."
I can almost guarantee you that's what happened, because access to a young, wide-ranging and massive market. Wonder if they asked nicely.
This is an interesting thing. So Joker says, in my experience, non-watch people like the look of chronographs much more than 3-hand watches. I've never even thought about that, but there is a lot of people that I know that wear watches, but they just bought, like a lot of the Michael Kors and stuff. They're like chronograph style, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, you think about it, people, it's chronographs at all price points. You think how many there are on the market. You can buy a chronograph from literally next to nothing right through to as much money as you can spend. It's just pervasive through all brands, all watches, and it's something that people do like. I think there's a tactility to it. People think there's a usefulness to it as well, and they like it's more than just something that's really basic. And what does that do? It tells the time. It's just got a bit more to it. I think it's been popular for a long time.
The subdials are just visually attractive in a variety of layout configurations. Sure. My mom must have had, she was a nurse, and I don't know, I changed her batteries on her watches. She must have had 24 different quartz watches, and one of it was fake. The chronograph parts didn't work. It was solely about the look of the dial. It was really just a 3-handed time-telling watch.
That was Movement's thing, wasn't it? That was Movement shtick, wasn't it? With they actually sort of were trolling people, weren't they? Because they made the chronograph subdials where you couldn't read them. They were just, there was no markings on them, was there at all?
The Audemars Piguet, that Alex collaboration, you can't read the chronographs on that one either. That's still my favorite ad campaign I've ever seen a watch brand do. The one with
it's almost as good as
the dead girl in the lawn chair with her arm dangling there, and then the one where they hang the watch on the set of keys on a chain link fence, because that's what you do with 18 karat gold, is you hang it on things and let it bang against stainless steel.
I mean, at least it was only the chronograph you couldn't read in that. The latest one, which has got the car camouflage laser engraving on it, you literally can't even tell the time in it, never mind anything else.
They should have put that in the Call of Duty game.
Oh, yeah, very good.
Find the watch is the game.
Yeah, Russell's saying he's got a point. Look at the citizens in the shop window, and they're horribly busy, full of subdials. That busy looks makes non-watch people think it looks expensive. That's a great point. I've never even thought about that, but that's a great point. And then Junior's saying, I just bought the Omega Dynamics chronograph. That Omega Dynamics, I think, controversially, I think it's the one that most people probably don't think is an Omega, or they think is like a, but
Dynamics
it's so cool.
Dynamics are really, really cool watch.
Yeah,
Dynamics is a shape that I think it would do all right if it was brought back sympathetically.
Yeah. I wonder if they ever, because they just used to do such a blend of watches, didn't they? Like that, they had that Speedmaster Racing that you could pick up for, I don't know, like $1,500 or something a couple of years ago. I know they've gone more kind of premium, but it's almost a shame that they lost those kind of quirky ones, like the Speedy Reduced and the racing ones and stuff that like that. Cool. All right. Well, guys, come waiting on some more questions. So definitely bring those over. Let me see if I miss any.
Someone's put a point up there. Actually, that's a watch that I missed. The Belova Curve. That's actually a cool little watch. Yeah, I bought one of them as well. I think it was Junior Johnson put it up. Halfway up, $9.55. A young guy wearing a Belova Curve. It's actually a genuinely cool watch. It's a watch that I guarantee you most folk that were into watches completely and utterly bypassed it because they just went, yeah, whatever. But it's technically quite a cool watch, the way it's constructed, the way it's made.
Yeah, there's a couple on. Is it still a current model? Here's one on eBay.
Oh, yeah, that's it. I don't know whether it's current or not. I don't know, but it actually had the actual everything about it, including the caliber, is curved. The actual caliber itself is curved as well.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's quite a cool piece.
Oh, here you go.
I would go maybe 5 years ago. Yeah, something. Are they still doing them? There you go.
Oh, there's one. Yeah. So this,
It's,
so it's showing the
yeah.
curve of
Yeah.
curvature.
You can see that. You can see the curvature on it as well, and obviously they can do that. I mean, I'm going to assume it's there's obviously parts inside the watch that are flat because Gear Train doesn't particularly like being curved, but it's super comfortable on the wrist.
Yeah. Just imagine some watchmaker like bending it over his knee just before he puts it in the case, just with the
exactly.
fingers.
Yeah.
Like,
Did a few.
yeah.
Well, they've definitely done some ceramic ones over the time, and actually, Belova, there's a brand. They do a couple of decent price little chronographs. I'm pretty sure in their range as well.
Yeah, let's see.
Mind you, ultimately all falling under Citizen Group at the end of the day, isn't it? So it's kind of not that much of an extrapolation.
Yeah. Let's
Tissot
see.
has quartz chronographs. We didn't name them.
Yeah, Tissot as well. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Tissot. Mido, I'm pretty sure has got something. You know, there's a whole load of the lower end Swatch Group that don't see the light of day a lot.
Yeah.
He thinks it's blooming awful looking. I didn't say I'd taste.
Yeah.
I mean, that one, to be fair, you picked about the worst one you could have possibly picked there, Sam. But yeah, that's fair enough.
Here we go.
Gold and blue.
Oh, here's Todd joining. Todd, thanks for joining us.
Hello. I can't get this to work on my computer, so trying on the phone here.
Awesome.
No
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so next question. Do you ever fall out of love with watches temporarily and get big into other random things like Danish furniture? Asking for a friend.
Yeah, just not Danish furniture. USM is my current perversion, which is, if you think watches are expensive and addictive, don't get into furniture or art.
Yeah, we struggle. We like that Scandinavian style, and we really struggle to get it in the US. So we had to go to like Article, and we even found like a vintage, like a 70 actual vintage sideboard that is sort of like, because we like that sort of, I suppose they call it like Japandi, sort of Japanese Scandinavian design. But yeah, I mean, Danish furniture, that's a rabbit hole, isn't it? Is Macintosh Danish or is that Swedish? I remember I tried to get a Macintosh table for a long time. I got one in the UK actually.
Oh yeah, furniture's a whole different rabbit hole.
Yeah,
it's also much more difficult to store lots of furniture because it has a habit of being large.
It does. Yeah. There is definitely other hobbies, isn't there? I mean, I've been trying to get sort of, lose a bit of weight and get fit at the moment. So I have actually been wearing an Apple Watch more than anything at the moment. So my other watches haven't really got there. Like a day.
Do you know, that's a fair question. It's actually a good one. You should kind of maybe try and fall out of love with watches a little bit occasionally, because otherwise you just burn it out really quickly.
Yeah.
It's quite good to just get distracted by other things, no matter what it is, whether it's furniture or cars or Lego or just actually being a normal human being or anything like that,
But we were in the Lego store. I spent some of my watch budget on Lego today because my wife's really into it. But Todd, have you what's yours, like crochet or something? What are you into?
Crochet.
Oh, you're boat. I just guessing. You're a boating guy, aren't you?
You should just have agreed with him. That would have really put him on a back foot.
That's
if you
right.
just said absolutely yes.
Absolutely. You got to have gold-plated crochet needles in order to get the yarn to work exactly like you want.
Yeah, I bet you that is a rabbit hole.
The fact you use the word yarn tells me you've got dark secrets about this that you haven't actually admitted to.
No, I have watercraft, but those aren't too expensive because I buy them used. But what we've done lately is Turkish rugs.
Oh yeah, they are really expensive, aren't they? Some
really handmade Turkish rugs. We've jumped into that a little bit, and boy, oh boy, that's a little insane. But
yeah, if you ever get bored on YouTube, or if you just want to like chill out and switch your brain off, there's a whole channels of them washing Turkish rugs. Have you ever watched this?
I've seen those. Actually, it's
so good, aren't they?
It's incredibly soothing.
It's like the wood
the algorithm. The algorithm for that is about to have a field day, and everyone in the comments is not going to thank you for this for the next week.
They're washing rugs. Dennis, have you got any other hobbies? Anything else you're into?
Pinball. Yeah, I have a collection.
Oh, that's right. Your pinball machines. That's right.
Oh, pinball, of course. Sorry.
Speaking of big things that are hard to store.
And expensive, yeah. Thankfully, I'm out of space, so that problem is self-solved.
So how many do you have?
I have 10.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that was a great questions. So, okay. So Eric's saying aesthetics or horology, what influences your decision more? So I suppose design or function. or design
Both.
or movement?
Both together, both independently. Just depends what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a blend. It's hard for me. It kind of depends what you mean by horology, I suppose. I guess I look more for different aesthetics at this point than I do specifically for different movements, but I find if I'm getting a different aesthetic, the movement is almost always different than something I've had at this stage. I do try and pursue different brands. I've never had more than 2 of a watch from a single brand at a time, and I've been able to maintain that rule to kind of ensure that I have that sort of diversity. Because it's of interest to me. But yeah, the looks really, that's always where I start, at least. So I'll say out of fairness that I start with the looks, and then I'll start thinking about the movement. And then if that's too pedestrian or too much like something else I have, I might look somewhere else.
Yeah, cool. Well, the questions are coming thick and fast now. Thanks, guys, in the comments.
That's
so
power of Todd. He summoned.
Yes,
for us.
Todd. Yes. So Fears Watch Owners Enthusiast Group says, "Evening, guys. What are your thoughts on the Rolex Cellini prints?"
That's a funky Art Deco one.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I really like Art Deco a lot. I personally prefer a lot of the Reverso designs, or honestly, the price those go for. You could probably get a Patek Dandolo, which also has a really nice Art Deco look. But I think that one's really cool. It does have a pretty attractive movement finishing as well on the display. It's a display case back.
Oh, yeah, these are cool.
I've kicked this one around from time to time, but I've always just gone with something else.
Right.
So I used to have a Reverso, and I got rid of it and got. In fact, I think I got rid of it for a Gondolo. So I'm naming the ones that I'm biased towards, but very cool. It's my favorite Cellini, though I think I would probably prefer a version in yellow gold.
Yeah. Oh, that is pretty cool. Yeah, so it's a modern-ish, isn't it? 2007.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, great question. Okay, next one coming up. So John says, I imported my first watch post-tariffs on Erebus. The duty itself wasn't bad, but I didn't realize that DHL charged $17 fee for processing your watch through customs. Is that normal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends.
And actually, to be honest, if you've only get charged 17 quid, you've got away with it, to be honest with you. It can be a lot more than that.
I've had big differences in DHL. So when I get a lot of my Seikos I get from overseas on the like Southeast Asia, that sort of area. I have some sources over there, but they always ship DHL because that's what they can do. That's their main way of doing it. I have no problem from DHL from Asia. From Europe, on the other hand, forget about it. They will find 1,000 ways to charge me in different fashions. And this was even before the tariff fiascos started. So not a fan of DHL from Europe at all.
Yeah.
I think it's technically called, if I remember rightly, a disbursement fee. I think is what its kind of official name is. But this is the thing that most folk don't actually realize is when you hear or you see, you're tracking your parcel and you see customs or whatever, it's never customs. It's someone employed by, name the courier company that's got the parcel, that does all the processing and work on behalf of. Think of it like you getting called an accountant because you fill in your own tax return. It's kind of the same thing. It's like they do all the work on behalf of the government in whatever country they're based in. So it's never customs. And at the moment, you're seeing it in the US, the couriers are backed up to their eyeballs because they were never set up for suddenly having to check every single parcel and make sure they got it right. And there's now, in some of the US depots, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of backlog on parcels. On some stuff, it's that bad.
I dropped an importing period when they dropped de minimis. I was just like, I'm not doing it.
I did too. Unless it's coming from Asia from a couple of my sources, I'm not doing any more international auctions. It's just the last one I got a watch in, it was awful. I'm just not doing it.
Yeah, I've got a package stuck at Minneapolis at the moment, actually. Okay, and next question coming up. So Saul says, hi all, question. I enjoy watches, though I don't identify as a collector. Do you think defining watch enthusiasm mainly through collecting limits how we view and share our passion for timepieces?
Possibly. I'd say maybe a little bit. I think it's less of a problem than it would be. Like I'm going to use pinball as an example. So in pinball, there are enthusiasts who they can't afford to buy games, or they don't have the space to buy games, but you can play on location. Like it was always a very egalitarian hobby. And sometimes in the podcasting and YouTube space and pinball, people lose sight of that and they get very collector oriented. And I do think it's very limiting in a space that was always meant to be egalitarian. Watches, I do think we kind of get lumped a little bit in the collector realm, but ownership, it's hard to be into watches and not own anything. And thankfully there are such affordable watch options. You can always have something that is original and offers something up and doesn't cost you a lot of money. So watches were always egalitarian because they were just such a necessity for so long. So I agree. You probably should maybe think more about enthusiasm rather than collecting per se, but I don't find it as limiting as it might be in some other spaces.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the same thing with cars, for example. You can be a huge car enthusiast.
Yes.
You can go to shows. You can, look at, like, I bring a trailer a lot. For those of you not in the U.S., that's a big thing here in the U.S. where they have all kinds of interesting cars that you can bid on. And there was a Jag XKE with a modified Ed Pink Racing V12 in it with fuel injection, lowered. I'm a big XKE fan. And it was like the most awesomest XKE I've seen in a long time. And I was like, I'm not going to buy it. The price is way beyond what I would spend. But I was like, yeah. And I was reading into it. They made it a 5-speed from the 4-speed, and they just did everything right to this car. It's pushed 500 horsepower. I was like, yes, this is the car I want. I could get excited by that, even though there's no chance I'm going to buy it.
Yeah,
I think there's more people than you think out there that are actually watch enthusiasts, because the reality is they either can't afford, don't want to afford, or don't want to buy watches other than maybe the one or two. I think it would be rare that someone would be a watch enthusiast and not own a single watch. I think that would be unusual. But I think cars the best analogy. Most folk have got their day-to-day runabout, but they might drool over supercars and everything else and go to shows and actively get involved in it. I think that, the only thing that you could probably say that you can be a very big enthusiast but not actually a collector, although that's not actually even true, is like a military aircraft enthusiast. It's kind of hard to buy those, albeit fair enough, there are actually people in the world who do buy them. So there is collectors of those even out there. It's just the difference between some hobbies where most folk are enthusiasts and very few are collectors. Watches is probably the other way around, to be honest.
Yeah. Next question. Do we think Tissot will make other variants of the PRX, like the GMT, Chrono, Moon Phase, or do you think they're done with it? I think they've got.
There's complications for watches that haven't been invented yet. They've not even been thought about yet, that Tissot will make a variation of it.
They tried that digital one, didn't they? The digital PRX.
There's a guy I think solely employed at Tissot to think about something. It's a bit like Inception. In 27,000 years from now, there will be a new, and we will have the first one in the world, and it will say PRX on it.
Yeah,
that watch has maybe been milked.
They're not done with the PRX.
No, they are not.
Not by a long stretch. And even when they have done, it'll be so long ago that they did the first one that they'll bring it back out as a vintage re-edition.
I love it.
Isn't Tissot like the third largest selling watch model, something like that, year over year?
By pure volume? Yeah.
By pure volume. Yeah.
Of what you would class as Apple watches by far and away. If you want to talk Swiss watches, Tissot is right up there by volume. Swatch watch, Tissot, right up there.
Yeah.
I think this is a statement, not a question, but how the hell have 2 of the panel of 4 watch videos on washing Turkish?
I think technically,
3 of us.
I think technically it's 3, actually. I think technically it's 3. Actually, you say you haven't. Give the algorithm a couple of hours, and I guarantee it'll be. And you will not be able to resist watching it.
Big laundry is powerful on YouTube, you guys. Just haven't fallen down that crevice of the
honestly,
algorithm.
And like, it's not just rugs. I've watched multiple videos just about people jet washing
power
things
washing.
Because
there's a guy here in Kansas who's got
dipping
a
car
very
shells
big channel,
into
mowing,
barn
mowing
find
lawns.
cars are fun to watch. Those get detailed.
Yeah.
I agree with that. That's
or even just there's one that some guy does. He dips car chassis shells into acid to get the paint off them. That's all. That's all his channel is. That's all his channel is. Bear in mind, there's a guy that takes a pair of step ladders to an airport in the UK, gets on top of the ladder, and then narrates like some wildlife narrator about pilots landing their planes badly. And it's now one of the largest watch channels on YouTube in the world. So it tells you, if it's there, folk will watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Great question. So next question is, do you guys think micro brands will become more of a viable option for collectors during these price hikes? The US ones,
Yes.
maybe.
I'm going to say no,
depends.
actually, because the tariffs are hitting the movements. So the watches are coming in and they're being struck by the tariffs. Now, I suppose you could make the argument like the Chinese and Japanese movements have a lower tariff than the Swiss ones. And so that might steer people to the micro brands, but Orient and Seiko and Citizen have that same advantage. So I don't see it necessarily giving the micro brands more market share.
Yeah, I think the price where most of the micro brands sit is not that competitive to the Swiss brands anyway. So that's where I'm kind of looking at it from. I don't think that I think the two are different.
Yeah, I think most micro brands, let's be honest, most of them operate in the sub $1,000 mark, and actually the real world difference in the price, even if they're having to face the full brunt of the 39% in real terms, is not a huge amount of money, and most folk will probably, if they want it, they'll soak it up. And most of these brands, they're not stupid either. They're pretty dynamic, they're pretty versatile, they are very quickly sussing out how to minimize, because let's be straight, it's 39% on the declared import value. If you're importing direct to the consumer, yeah, then it's pretty punchy. Most of them are setting up sub-distribution systems so that they can import at wholesale. So the reality is, even on a $700 watch, it will probably end up being not even $100 difference. And it'll take a degree of readjustment. Folk going, well, this is outrageous. Why is it gone up £100? Give it a couple of months and folk won't even remember it was $600 and it's now 700. It'll just be that's the new normal.
Me and Pepperidge Farm will remember them.
Pepperidge Farm remembers. Yes.
So Junior Johnson says, I've been buying a few old clocks. I recently bought a grandfather clock. Also, I actually got into watches through my grandfather's love of clocks. So
yeah.
He would kind of fix clocks and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Robert Coleman says, final boss question: where does Dave buy his t-shirts?
Where does Dave buy his t-shirts? I'm a t-shirt collector, you know.
I'm just an enthusiast.
Do you watch t-shirt washing YouTube videos?
Yeah, I mean, I watch the seamstress sewing them up. I actually, nearly all my t-shirts are from an American brand in New York called Corridor, who are an exceptionally fine, small, independent clothing company who make very, very high quality t-shirts and stuff that don't cost the earth and are actually extremely well made. So there you go. The only thing that's a bit weird, they've got no comprehension of what sizes are, because you can buy 7 of the same t-shirt with the same size label on it and it'll fit the broad spectrum of everyone on the human planet. But they're very good. They're very good. They're excellent. In fact, these I think these, I've got about 4 of these because you'll see me wearing this a lot, but I think these are at least 5 years old, and for a t-shirt to still kind of be square. So yes, Corridor. Here's a recommendation for you. I'm not being paid by them.
Is this it?
Corridor Clothing. That's them, yeah.
Ooh,
Corridor Clothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had never heard of them. Interesting.
No.
They're super good. They're based in New York. Really
nice,
cool. Really cool stuff.
But
you know, they're not Gap price or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. They're not super cheap. But you know, the way I judge a t-shirt is if you've washed it 10 times and it still looks like it's brand new, then you're probably on to a win.
Yeah. Oh, very good. There we go. I was actually turned out to be a very good question. Cheers, Robert. Okay. Let's have a look. So Chiller Badger says, have you admitted to yourself and your friends you are addicted to looking at watches?
Absolutely not. Self-denial is the best place to be in life. It's deny everything.
Yeah.
They know one thing the one truth that lawyers will always tell you: never admit anything. It's the only thing a lawyer will tell you that's true.
Yeah, I suppose that's it's a bit hard considering that for the last 10 years I've been making YouTube videos about it, so I can't really be like, no.
That's been it. They like my family knows I do, and friends know I do YouTube for that. But I did podcasting for pinball for so long, like this just fits into the personality type of falling down the mechanical rabbit hole. So the judgment was already there.
Well, I mean, you must get asked. I mean, we get asked by sort of, people not into watches, like watch recommendations. But have you ever been asked by like just somebody that's not into pinball, like a pinball recommendation or some? Yeah.
Yeah, if they find out, like people will ask, or they'll have to be like, my dad has an old game in their basement and they want to know a little bit about it, or like they want to get it fixed, or maybe they want to sell it and they want to know what what you might be able to get for it. Yeah, I get those sort of questions. And then on the pinball forums, I get messaged from watch people asking me about watches. So because there's a lot of cross-pollination.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's the best watch to play pinball in?
Or like one guy was trying to get an Omega for his wife, and she was really big into the Seamaster 300M because she loved James Bond, and was trying to I was telling him different models, and it's like, well, what he's trying to surprise her, so it's like, well, do you have any idea like what color she likes? Like, well, give me something to work with here. What size is she comfortable with wearing? And he ended up surprising her with it.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know if this is true, but Trap Vision 3D says Tissot is coming out with a Damascus Steel PRX coming out next month.
I'd believe it.
Yeah,
I definitely wouldn't disbelieve it. I would probably be more inclined to say Damascus Steel a like watch, because Damascus Steel is not probably going to align particularly with the price point of that watch, because it's punchy money. But I think they'll probably get something. It would not surprise me if they've got something that's got that vibe about it. It wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, you got a Damascus Steel knife.
Yeah, I've got a few of them as well. It's super
Very cool.
Yeah.
Zelos did a Damascus Steel, haven't they? Zelos have done a few Damascus Steels.
They've done a few. Yeah.
Yeah, and that what was that Malaysian brand that I reviewed? Can't remember now. But Wise, was it that they have a Damascus?
I've never owned
the basis of
Damascus watch or
what was that? Sorry?
I've never had it.
You never had Damascus Steel?
The coolest Damascus watch I've seen was by Zin, funnily enough, and they did one where the entire case and the dial was all one piece from Damasteel, and it was actually particularly cool looking. It was also particularly expensive, if I remember rightly. It was on to the 5-figure mark, but it was actually exceptionally cool.
Yeah, I think I remember that one.
They've done two, I think, one in a dark Damasteel and one in a lighter Damasteel, a couple of years apart.
Yeah. Was it you, Dave, that's telling me that actually Damascus Steel isn't really like a thing? It was the ancient name for it, but they can't make
that.
it.
Well, true Damascus Steel, they still have never actually, I believe, if I remember rightly, they've never worked out how they actually made not even vintage, like dug up in the ground kind of archaeology of Damasteel. What it is today is a principle that they believe is what they did, but also they don't truly know whether they did or didn't. I think the argument is the way we make it today, they don't think they could have made it that way back then because of the amount of energy that it consumes to make it, but they've done something. They've done something to make it. But it's effectively a rolling of two dissimilar but similar materials together to enhance its mechanical properties, and it looks very pretty as well.
It looks pretty, yeah. Mine came from a guy in Utah that makes these, hand makes these, and it wasn't terribly expensive either. And,
no, I mean, I think the way they make it now is more like how they do, like candy, where they just have the layers over layers. It's like making pastry, basically. It's layers and layers, and then they fold them and roll them and fold them and roll them, and then you end up with this beautiful kind of weird mix material to it.
Now, get involved in that Iron Forge show. I forgot, Forged in Fire, I think it is. Oh, that's addictive. That's pretty cool.
And then what's it? Where was that? If there was a good question. Oh yeah. So Russell says there are still at least 3 more teats to milk on the PRX cow,
and that's only PRX cow number 1.
Yeah, there will come. There's a store near me in Winter Park. Actually, it's not the Orlando Watch Company. It's another one, and the name escapes me now. But he's got the wall of PRXs, and he's actually got them there. And I was amazed at how many different variants there were of it. Yeah, Swatch
Group doing what they do best.
Yeah, awesome. Eric Grimes says Spartan knives have some nice Damascus blades in the hearsay folder. Very cool. Awesome. Let's see if I've got any more questions coming in the last 10 minutes. Let me just see if I missed anything. I don't think I have. Yeah, guys. Let us. If you got a last couple of questions, send them over to us now, and we will. We'll jump on them. And if I missed anyone, just shout it out. I am trying to.
There's one just come through, I think, from Tommy.
Oh yeah, here you go. Have you ever bought a customized watch? I think I have.
Bespoke, you mean? Something that's right? That's unique,
or like a
that?
Seiko or something that's been perhaps
Oh,
custom, or like
okay.
Something that someone's taken something stock and tweaked it. Actually, yes, I was thinking hard there, but I did find people that might know a guy who goes by the Dial Artist, a guy called Chris, who's from Scotland, who now has done quite a lot of stuff, even with some major brands. I have, I think, one of the first 2 watches he ever did. He did it with I think it was a Hong Kong-based brand, Undone watches.
Oh yeah.
Watches.
Yeah.
That's who he started it with. He did a couple of Undone watches where he just did, that kind of trademark splatter, Jackson Pollock-esque kind of effect that he did on a lot of the early watches. I've still got a couple of those actually. Yeah, so I do have a customized watch technically.
Yeah. It must be because he used to do the Speedmasters, and I always think like what the first one that somebody sent him in that was and you cannot mess it up, because how would you buy another Speedmaster dial? It must have been quite. But he did that amazing the Tudor FXD, didn't he? That had all the writing and all of that on it. Which
the Pelagos, wasn't it? The FXD Pelagos.
Yeah.
Where he did it where it looked like someone had shaken it, so everything went. It was almost like a chalkboard, wasn't it? And little squiggly lines with instructions about what each part was, if I remember rightly. That's what he did.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it now. I know it was all over his. His Instagram of it, because I think it was a commission, wasn't it? Somebody, I think he paid him to do it.
Yeah, I think that's what most of his work is, to be honest, is people will send him specific watches and ask, I'd like this done to it.
Yeah, let's see if he's got. Yeah, I can't. There's his G-Shocks. There's his PRX.
There we go. Yeah,
which is very cool. Oh, that Bamford's pretty good with the hearts.
Yeah.
I don't know whether
it's actually he's very. There's the Tudor. Yeah.
There's one. Yeah, that's very cool.
The quality of what he does, to be honest, whether you like it or dislike it's a different matter. But the quality of what he does is exceptionally good. It's not a kind of Heath Robinson job. It's actually extremely good what he does.
Oh yeah, I used to have that Heath Robinson book. I haven't heard that for ages. My dad got it me when I was a kid. Awesome.
It's a blast from your past. There's a few of them that that are doing that, and the other one that I've got that I'd forgotten all about as well was Seiko, because as much as probably most folk know him now for doing collabs, where he started was he sold custom second hands or minute hands or hour hands for watches, and you can still buy them if you look on his website. They come in a little cylindrical, almost like a little medical vial, and you can just you just tell him what your watch is, and he will do them. And he basically, like all these ones here, you buy them in a tube, and you can send your watch to him. He changes the hand, and you get the original hand back in the little tube as well, so you can always put it back to what it was if you don't like it.
Look at that!
That's the high tech Philippe, which is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, God, somebody's got FU money, haven't they, to send him a Patek Philippe to customize?
Yeah. But I think do you know what? It's kind of like I think it's pretty cool, some of the stuff he does, and like especially like the wee Lego arm one's amazing.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, just silly things he does like that. But it's that you can he's a clever guy, and he's very, very, very shy and retired, and he's not someone that scopes the limelight in any way, shape, or form. But he's very good at what he does.
Yeah, I know there's a few that, and I think there's another one coming out actually. One that you've got, Todd, because somebody reached out to me.
The Seiko Spinnaker collab.
Yes, yeah,
yeah.
I think he's doing another one.
Yeah,
50 Phantoms.
50 Phantoms. I love that watch. It's just fun.
Very clever. Very, very clever what he did.
Very clever.
Oh yeah, of course.
Very detailed.
CW.
Oh yeah,
one.
Right.
Yeah, I mean he's done everything from literally the bottom to the top. Like Spinnakers are not expensive, and he's done Mozart, and he's done all sorts of stuff.
Oh yeah, that's the Death
That
Diver.
was a cool watch as well. That one was really cool. The Death Diver. That was good.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, very cool.
But
yeah. I'm yet to have owned a Seiko. I did think about buying that Death Diver, but I just never
got around to it.
Trick on it. Yeah, never got around to it. But yeah, there's all sorts, isn't there? Wow. Yeah. Oh, there's a Squale. Oh, there's yours. Yours 50
yeah.
Phantoms.
50 Phantoms. They're coming up with a new one. I got
Yeah, it's coming soon.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slap. That's pretty cool. Awesome. Well, that was great. Thank you for all of the questions, everyone. Really appreciate them coming through. Some great questions we had. Big thanks to the panel as well. So yeah, thanks for everything, and we'll see you next time on Casual Watch Talk Live. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.